Describe how you're feeling right now going into this weekend.
Tired.
Tired.
Frustrated.
Trepidation, a lot of trepidation.
In the heart of a boarded up downtown, a conversation about change, pain, and the uncertainty of what justice will look like in the death of George Floyd.
There's a rising, I feel, uneasiness in the community as the trial now reaches its final days, that we've been here before when it seemed like this is a open and shut case and this should go one way, but we have to realize that this is a justice system that has not served us before, so you have to be mindful that it might not go that way. And that makes people nervous.
I feel like we're really more in a moment of transition, right? That transition moments are filled with chaos, they're filled with tension, but on the other side comes mastery.
But your hope gives me hope.
That's the idea, right? Like if our leaders start adopting a posture of hope and reminding people that this is a human experiment, right? That we have never really wrestled or reckoned with the white supremacists. If our leaders force us to wrestle with that and to deal with that, then we have a lot of reasons to feel hope. The moment we're in is just the fight and the struggle, but when the struggle's over, we have a better world that's closer to the world we want to live in.
I'm hurting a little bit, Jason, because last Sunday I stood in our pulpit and I told my congregation, I said, this is a great week to practice self-care. You know, don't watch the whole trial if you don't have to. Take some time before this verdict comes to be at peace, to take care of yourself and your loved ones, and to look out for each other. And they got home only to hear the news of Daunte Wright's killing. All right, and so you never get a chance to simply pause, to breathe, and to reflect.
There's no reflection. There's no self-care. It's right on to the next trauma. Is there hope in kind of your generation and the activism that we're seeing?
Honestly, there's no hope right now.
There's no hope.
In order for us to get to a place where we can be hopeful, the change needs to happen in the root. It has to happen with the system.
How many more deaths and hashtags will it take for more of white America to get what we've been saying the whole time is actually true? In a weird way, I feel like black bodies are treated like logs, like they keep being put on the fire for the sake of awakening white people, and that's not. It can't be that. And so there's some work within white communities that you all have to do yourselves apart from us.
How do we honor and acknowledge the pain that's happening now, but also look forward, because we don't want to live in a Minnesota that just takes us from one traumatic experience to the next?
These are our times, and we are the leaders, and so we have to work together to hold on to hope. Each of us in our own communities, in our congregations, will be giving that message of hope, of course, because a belief in something beyond us is crucial.
I would say right now, a majority of white America and the powers that be are sticking by the messaging that property matters more than people. Wow. Right? That's what we continue to see, right? Property matters more than people. The reaction of just what this city looks like and what people are preparing for is all this effort to protect our property, value, wealth, right? And then we continue to see a disregard for human life.
We can continue to hope, we can continue to pray, we can continue to preach what's right. But like I stated earlier, nothing is going to change unless the root of the problems are resolved.
There is this awakening, I think, that's happening among white folks that this is America, and it's not a one-time situation. George Floyd didn't come out of nowhere. Like, this fits into a larger context that maybe they didn't learn about in U.S. history, and maybe their families didn't talk about, but this has been going on. We do see a huge awakening happening among white folks who are seeing things differently, more willing to listen now.
More than just a performative sort of the right thing to do is to check the box.
I think it's real. I think it's real because I see people challenging their family systems and having real wrestlings around do I let my child go to my parents knowing that my parents hold these kinds of beliefs? And that's not, you don't play around with that. Like, do I want grandparents to see their grandkids? I think that's real.
Don't wait for those questions to be asked around the dinner table. Talk about it. It's really important. And I would say that addressing systemic racism, and that is the continued work that we have to do. And that's the commitment we have to make right now, because otherwise there will be many more George Floyds and many more Daunte Wrights, and we don't want that anymore.
Whatever happens next week is not an end, but it's part of this road, right?
I think when you talk about the anxiety that many people are feeling, I think it's because we're at a crossroads and we get to decide which way we go now. It is a high stakes moment, and Minnesota gets to prove that it's as good as it always says it is, or we can like settle and just be what many people accuse of being. And I'm hoping that our state rises to the occasion, regardless of the verdict.
I'm not optimistic that we'll get the right outcome here, but I am optimistic that the community will continue to demand justice, and with the right strategies in place, I believe we'll get it.
It is not a divine problem. God created this world as blessedly diverse as we are. It is a human problem. This hatred is a human problem, and we need to fix it. We have the ability. Do we have the will? We have the way. Do we have the will?
As a faith leader, it's helping us to see that out of our broken moments, that's when the best work arises, right? And that we move from these places of despair and death to hopefully life and reimagining what a good and possible future can look like.
I have some hope just knowing that voices like you four are out there and willing to share with us. And it means a lot. I'm really grateful. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.